Hello, everybody. Jason with Learn Survive. Hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, taking care of yourself, but more importantly, taking care of one another. In this video, I want to talk about the Minnesota shooting of the legislators and their family. Now, before I really get into this and what we know so far, I want to say what we know is being given to us in micro doses, and they're doing it in the middle of a bigger news cycle, so we're not paying very much attention to the little breadcrumbs they're dropping, but we're paying attention to the bigger news story, which happens to be Israel and Iran, and what could happen with this, because that's what the news story's covering, and then they're dropping these little tidbits, knowing that people aren't going to be paying as much attention to this, and they'll forget about the piece that was dropped the day before and the day before that, and then they'll just take in what was being said that day, but they're not too worried about it, and it's designed to keep you from looking at a bigger picture or trying to put two and two together because you forget about things. But when you sit down and you do the research of everything that they've put out and put it together all at once and take that in, it don't make sense. Now, am I saying there's a cover-up here? No. But I will say, when this happened and the story was breaking, I said the story we're going to get's bullshit. And let's look at what we know so far that they've given us in crumbs, and let's look at it as a bigger picture, and you can decide if we're being lied to, if it's being covered up, if somebody's being protected. There's just a lot here, and nobody's going to be able to say for sure unless somebody comes out with evidence that suggests otherwise it's just going to be conspiracy theory, just like the JFK assassination and all the conspiracy theories behind that, at what really happened. This is going to probably turn out like that, and if there's a truth being hidden, we'll probably never know it. So let's start off with Melissa Hortman, who was the one killed, her and her husband, by the suspect. She was one of two Democrats, along with the other legislator and wife that was shot, that did not vote along party lines to stop a bill that would stop illegals from getting food stamps and Medicaid in the state of Minnesota. If you watch the speech she gave reasoning her vote and her vote of no, there was a great deal of fear in her voice, and it was apparent in her eyes and on her face. This was more fear than, well, I voted this way, this probably ended my career, I'm not going to get reelected. This was a genuine fear that some kind of harm was going to come to her or her family. The suspect wore a mask, and the police are trying to tell us this was some sort of high-tech, hyper-realistic mask. And then they show a screenshot, a still from a doorbell cam. And from that grainy still, you could see it was a mask. It didn't look like a hyper-realistic mask. Did it look like a cheap Walmart mask? No. But it looked like one of them $60, $70 masks from Halloween Town or whatever the hell them stores are that pop up like weeds every October in every shopping mall and strip mall and empty storefront in just about every town. Both the suspect and his wife had ties to Tim Walz. He was personally appointed to one of Tim Walz's advisory boards by Tim Walz, and his wife was an intern for him. After the shooting, his wife was stopped on a traffic stop and was found with passports and a substantial amount of cash. And I say passports because that is what the news outlets reported. Not passport, but passports. If she had multiple passports on her and a substantial amount of cash, why wasn't she arrested? Roommate. So he was a roommate with a guy 2 days a week. What married man roommates with a guy 2 days a week? And if you watch the video, the way the guy acted was not the way a friend would act. Then he read the text message that the suspect sent him, and the wording of it is not what somebody who fucked up would send a friend. It wasn't, hey, I did this, I'm sorry, buddy, but, I'll see you on the other side. This was worded more in a way that somebody would send their wife or their girlfriend or their fiance, somebody that they had an intimate relationship with. Am I saying these two were lovers? No. But it's surely the way it was worded and the way the guy acted. One could take that away, and doesn't matter if he was secretly gay or not. No. Does it matter? Yeah, it might, because that would give us a good indication of where the guy might have been coming from. He had no King flyers in his car, but yet supposedly voted for Donald Trump. And this was after changing political affiliations more than once, from Democrat to Republican to Independent. They found notepads with very detailed notes about the subject's house, about their habits, their spouses, their kids, how many entrances there was, where he parked, where he could park, where he could watch and observe. Just a lot of things that don't make sense, that somebody would do in a case like this. This is professional level stuff. This is highly trained military type observation and notes that were taken. Not something that somebody that just snapped was going to do. So this was in the planning. I mean, and I'm not saying that there's somebody else behind it, certainly not. But this is somebody that has thought about this for a while and has been doing surveillance for a long time to be able to figure this out, and has even been on the property, or maybe even been in the property, to have this kind of information. Now that the feds have filed charges on him, and at least 6 counts of various things, the state wants to take it over. Why does the state want to take it over instead of letting the feds handle it? Because do they know the feds are going to seek the death penalty? And if the feds do seek the death penalty, does he know something? Will he sing to get the death penalty off the table that might implicate somebody else in this? Maybe somebody with some kind of political clout. I mean, there's just a lot of questions that need answered that I don't think we'll ever get an answer to. And if you look at all this, as a big picture in a whole, you're going to see that a lot of it don't make sense, and it's going to make you wonder. So do your due diligence, do your due research, and come to the conclusion for yourself, because I think this is going to be one of them cases that'll never go away, that it'll always be talked about, and there'll always be people with theories or come forward 20 years later uh, saying that no, that's not what happened. I've got proof to this. It's going to be very much like the JFK case. There's going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, and no proof to anything either way. There'll probably be another commission like the Warren Commission that's going to put out some BS that makes no sense, but they hope everybody's dumb enough to buy it. With that being said, I'll wrap up this video, and I will talk to you guys later.